Chapter 2. Western Sweden, the 13th of December, 1785. Uddevalla is, in 1785, an inconsequential herring fishing town on the western coast of Sweden, dying, whether through lack of fish or fishermen, or from its own sheer disinterest in being an inconsequential fishing town on the western coast of Sweden, I cannot tell. It has a main street with a church on a rise, a market square, a river flowing through its centre, long crescent beach, a curious strand, it being covered with millions of shells, forming one of the world's largest shell banks. Farms surround the town, providing, with fishing and the port, a living for some of its now dwindling population. Not far from Norway, Uddevalla has found itself, like a whore in a busy week, the mistress of changing masters, at times Swedish, and at others Norwegian. Even Danish military muscle has hit hard. She has been cruelly used, stripped naked, burned, thrashed and robbed, invaded by sea and land, in both ways vulnerable and submissive to her masters, all of them uncaring and not a little demanding. It is a December evening. Outside on the church hill and lining the main street, townsfolk have gathered to wonder at a traditional procession. It's dark early, of course, and there is a light snow falling over the town. Some of those present carry torches, so a strange light plays through the evening snow, turning it, momentarily, into flakes of gold, while shadows peer like viewers themselves, weirdly fleet phantoms that excitedly come and go, darting about as partners to the dancing torchlight. The smells of torch smoke and the street fires mingle with those of a nearby bakery, the last bread of the day, and bollar, hot sweetbread buns being brought out to entice bystanders. The dark smell of sour, hard rye rings strung through decorative holes on slender stakes reminds waiting housewives that there is bread to be bought and served that night. Next day, the apothecary hurriedly serves his last customers of the day as cheap sweets or doubtful tonics are happily exchanged for unarguably genuine shillings and öre. Then there is the butcher, sharp-nosed, one of the town's wealthier traders. He steps out to watch, joining the lesser street peddlers and stall sellers in a rare moment of community. For many, his prices are too high and his cuts too lean, and so for them it's fish or fast come Yuletide. There is neglected poverty in Uddevalla. Not so for the birds and squirrels, who scramble amongst the birches, oaks, and pines that line the road, stealing the discarded crumbs of human wealth, fighting amongst themselves for scraps overlooked by dogs and beggars and poor children. The main street at Christmas is a lavish market for those who rummage. The central area of Uddevalla is icy and mushy, with mud and snow, but rich in steaming deposits, well trodden in and churned into a caramel paste plastered all over the townsfolk, who are oblivious to the changing colour of their boots or long woolen coats or smartly tailored trouser bottoms. Both the well-heeled and the paupers sport this same spontaneous yet unbecoming fashion. The weather, regal horses, vagrant men, dogs, and the town council between them do not distinguish on class lines. Along this main street, now busy filling with onlookers, will come the procession. Candles in red holders light the tiny windows of the houses that line the main street all the way along tonight. They blithely mimic their celestial cousins and remind households and passer-bys of the approaching Advent feast. Above all, only a few distant stars are discernible in the dawn of heaven. Yet their light falls as snow now, and people are grateful for the beauty God has showered upon them and their silver town. More prosaically, the imposing outline of a large bell tower can be seen rising high into the night over Uddevalla. Built on a hill, Agneberget, it dominates the town below through its sheer size and sound, a stone giant overlooking the pygmy dwellings of wood below. The exception is the nearby church of St. Anna, lower but elevated, serene stone building designed in the shape of a cross. Amongst the people gathered outside is an old man, tall, worn, but smiling gently through his scarf and close-wrapped coat. One wouldn't notice him, clad as he is in the dour browns and blacks of most waiting with him, were it not for his unstooped height, and his waving to a group walking on the other side of the street, calling out. Hanne waves back, an attractive mother, though no longer young. She's with her children, Maria, 12, and sweetly pretty in her scarf, Sven, a strong-looking lad of 10, and a younger boy, Kalle, just 6, who calls out, "Hey, Papa!" Hanne bows in greeting to the old man and the bystanders. The street is full now, with all kinds gossiping and waiting. Servants, peasants, farmers, tramps, rough soldiers, back for Christmas, gentlefolk, the men aloof with polished canes, and the ladies vain in provincial bonnets. Also present are beggars, and the inebriated, wretches trapped by their nights in frozen forests and days in the dreary half-light of winter and alcohol, half alive, warming up again for the night ahead. Everyone shuffles in the cold, good-natured though, despite their shivering. Now, from within the church we see light and hear the girls singing Sancta Lucia. A delicate beauty splinters the frost of that night, as the warmth of such purity breathes the light over Uddevalla. The girls emerge slowly, all in white, bearing candles, and the girl in front, the tallest and the most beautiful, represents the blessed saint, who, at the darkest time of the year, took candles and went about giving food and gifts to the poor by night. The girl's waist is wrapped with a red cotton sash, a reminder of St. Lucia's bloody martyrdom at the hands of Romans when she was just 20. She wears a crown of 7 white lit candles set in lingonberry leaves and ribbons, her breath mingled with the candle flame and smoke, a misted figure seemingly beheld in vision. Some stare in wonder, and some smile, and some nod their heads. Some lust. The girls sing with sweetest clarity. White clad, light about her hair, Sancta Lucia, Sancta Lucia. The children's eyes brighten as the singers draw closer. Kalle, delighted, awed, grips his mother's hand, looking up at her and back to the approaching girls. He has seen this before, but so long ago. The procession passes down the street, and the people lean forward as one to watch it go. And at the rear, smiling and acknowledging all, is the elderly, much-respected church rector, Pastor Larson. He has been rector here for longer than most can remember, an appendage of the church itself. As the adults begin to leave back to their homes or shops, or to follow the girls, they brush past the children and Kalle, standing, still entranced by the spectacle of Lucia. He tugs at his mother's coat to gain attention. Mother, more. Is she Mary, the girl in front? Mary, more. Is she Jesus' mother? Why has she candles? Hanna places her arm around the boy's shoulder. No, Kalle, no, darling. Not Maria. That's Gunilla Backström. She is Sancta Lucia, who reminds us that even in darkest times, God gives us light and hope. Lucia died for that light of God. We remember her like this, singing every Christmas, all throughout the kingdom. Mother, she's very beautiful. She looks like Maria or an angel, like the paintings in church near the altar. The other girls look like angels too. More, don't you think? Hanne stoops to answer her boy. Yes, Kalle, yes. They were like beautiful angels come from heaven and the stars to visit us in Uddevalla. They sing so wonderfully. God's angels can be anywhere, I suppose, anywhere in the whole world. Kalle would ask that. He is curious, a sensitive boy. His mother is close to him, and his frequent inquiry is a thing she patiently encourages. Hanne drops down, adoring, and looks straight into his eyes. And especially at Christmas, darling, when Jesus came to our world to save us, especially now. Don't you agree, Maria? Sven? Maria smiles and nods, Sven still following the vanishing girls, now sirens, their song faint, rarefied by the dark and cold. He eventually nods, but his thoughts follow the procession. And the angels, they watch over your father, even across distant seas. Oh, Father, he's coming home for Christmas, and I have just 10 days to get everything ready. So now we start tomorrow. Oh, so much to do. Christmas is coming, and Father too. Oh, Fräulein Dane. Mother rises, her head half to one side, smiles in greeting. The crowd slowly make their way past the lit windows along the street, following the choir. Mother waves to Papa, and Sven and Maria run to join the other children. Kalle stands alone in the shifting crowd. Undeterred, he pauses to look about. He waves to Papa, and then moves off slowly, half singing his own words to the Sancta Lucia carol, stomping away the slush with his boots. He stops to reach for an elderly salmiak from his coat pocket. It's the perfect sweet, black, sticky and enduring, at once salt and sugar, but now also a little woolly. He thoughtfully pauses to remove the hairs, a tricky task that repeated practice has honed into a skill. Soon, happily chewing, Kalle runs down the street after the others, singing his own version of the Lucia carol. Far is coming back, good old Far is coming back. And so is Christmas. Far is coming. Dodging the ice and splashing the slush, Kalle runs out of our view into what was once a sunset, the murk of the northern seaport's winter night. Now the day has ended, its brief excitements already an imperfect memory. The main street and all the streets are still, homes with their own small fireplaces, some with candles and lamps burning silently behind curtained windows, sit snug in soundless snow. Night and silence meld with the snow to blanket sleeping Uddevalla. There is no wind. Most people are indoors, though a passer-by might look up and glimpse large straw goats in some gardens, diabolic creatures standing, frozen but bold, ribald. Odd indeed that such things should be here now, for straw brings happy images of autumn, earthly colours, noise, sweat, and welcome harvests. There are lights outside some of the bigger villas, fine homes set back with long drives and stone gateposts. They boast wealth and waste to impress an invisible audience with corpulent candles that, if divided and shared out, could better light in tens of hovels that night. On its slight hill overlooking the river, the churchyard also has candles to bring light to the darkest of places. Some of the more recently departed have been remembered with these sparse flames, though most of the candles are extinguished, like the once vivacious beloved whose memory they represent. Indistinct things move about in this shadowed land of trees and tombs. At this hour, not a soul is there to witness them. Far above the church and its bell tower, the sky turns and clears, so the northern star and all the stars light heaven as if to contradict the dark drama of man's life below.